Evan, tactical race out there, but you make your way through. How'd you find it?
Yeah, it was pretty just overall comfortable running. Like wasn't a ton of jostling for the first like 6 laps basically, and then 600 to go. Like it felt like the racing really picked up and started going. And then it was pretty controlled until then, and the last lap was fast. Everyone closed, and it wasn't quite 5 guys away in CITIUS, so there was some racing there at the end off the last barrier. But overall it was pretty good.
Yeah. Like, did your legs feel how you wanted them to feel in a tactical race like that?
I think I felt better than I generally do going into a prelim. Possibly because I was taking this one a little more seriously than I normally do. Just really wanting to get through and not being supremely confident in my fitness as opposed to years past. So I think I was a little more amped up for this one. But I felt good. The last lap was it wasn't easy, but there was more running there for sure. So I think it felt about as good as I could hope. It was good.
Compared to 2 years ago, how do you feel like your fitness right now compared to USA 2 years ago?
It's hard to know. I think all of my races that I ran in 2022, they were subpar, but I felt like conditions of those days were like not ideal, and that's what was holding me back. Whereas the first few races of this year, I think I was a little overtrained and just in a hole going into those 2 LA races. So fitness was better than what those races showed, but I could not have performed better on those days because I was just in a hole. So things have come around the last 5 weeks after those LA races. So it's pretty similar, but still a little different. So I can't quite tell. I felt great in training the last 2 weeks after Portland track. I feel like Portland track was a really good confidence boost for me to just prove to myself that I was in better shape than what I showed earlier. And then coming off of that race, training has gone really well. So I feel really good in training. I think ideally I would have liked to have started feeling better like a month earlier in the season to really get like 9 to 10 solid weeks of feeling good training. But I'm definitely happy with 5 weeks of training in the right direction going into the trials as opposed to the other way around, obviously.
Did you watch the Olympic trials 3 years ago when you were out?
Yeah, I was here.
You were here in the stands?
Yeah.
Oh wow. What do you remember about what that felt like? Wanting to miss it being
Yeah, I mean it sucked. I was in a boot. Training had been going really poorly leading into making the decision to pull out of the trials. Like I was just running injured for weeks on end, trying to keep the dream alive, you know. And I think like for me, making the decision to withdraw from the trials was the hardest part of not experiencing the trials in the Olympics. Like in some sense, like Jerry's not going to make that decision for me because he's not going to tell me what I can't do, you know? So I had to be the one to make that decision. And even though I knew I couldn't have competed at the right level, and it was the right decision, part of me felt like I was like giving up. So that was really tough. And then, being at the trials, and again, watching the Olympics, it's definitely tough. I think you always feel like you can be in those situations and do well in those situations if you're fit and healthy. And it's just tough wanting something and knowing that you're not going to get that. But I was here watching teammates and watching a lot of their like good experiences making the team was definitely made things easier for sure. There was a lot of really good performances from teammates and I was very excited and happy for them. So that made things better for sure.
So the men's steeple final 3 years ago, you were in the stands for that race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matthew Wilkinson said in the in the first heat, he said last year, I think at USA, sorry, 2 years ago at USA, he introduced himself, might have been last year. He said, like, he was basically a fan of yours, like, kind of called you his hero. And I'm wondering, like, what is it? I'm sure a lot of the guys in the steeple final grew up watching Evan Jager and these races internationally, winning medals. Like, now you got to beat these guys out to make a team. Like, how does that feel like for you? And is it odd when your competitors come up and sort of introduce themselves like that?
No, because I mean, I was in the same position as they were. Like when I started out, like I was at meets with Legade and Leo Manzano and all these other top level guys in the sport, and I don't know, everyone like try to treat everyone with respect and